Wow. Everything is now in place. I've been waiting a few weeks now to make this rant. This, I'm going to tell you the truth from my prescriptive, from me about the CPC and what a ineffective whole load of bull doodah that they've ever come across. And it really annoys me. And you have to do it. It's the law. And this is no reflection on the training company that taught me. I've deleted them. I'm going to show you the paperwork, but there's going to be a lot of things missing. Obviously, my date of birth or license number, all that sort of stuff's going to be missing. But you're going to know that what I'm telling you, I'm showing you. And it just annoys the hell out of me. But it's what you got to do. It's what the government have told you to do. And what a fantastic idea. What a fantastic opportunity that the government and the transport industry had. Yes, it's had a small effect. It could have had such a bigger, better effect. But, oh, dear me. So I'm going to start with who I am, show you my qualifications, how long I've had them for. And who the hell are you? What have you got to teach me? And I'm not being arrogant. I'm not being in that I'm not willing to learn. Every day is a learning day. Yeah, all that. But I talk to so many drivers, and the people, you're now talking to a person that hasn't got an interest. You talk to a trainer, it's in his interest because obviously he has to feed his family, he has to make a living. You talk to the gaffers, well, it's a legal requirement. It's what you got to do. And if you don't do it, you don't get it. It's the same as driving a license. It's part of your license. You cannot drive unless you've took a test or unless you've got a license and you've took a test. It's one of those things. The CPC, if you're not a truck driver, you don't know much about it. But what a whole load of hogwash. Oh, and they could have done so much better. And I had to do 5 of these. It varies and changes, and we're only going to concentrate on what I've just done and the headings on the courses that I've done, which is crazy. So hang on in there and let's begin. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to actually me. Here I am, no points, no offences. You can go online, you can check your license. Anybody can do it as long as you get permission, So we've rubbed that out, This is the license, just telling you that there's no points, no offences on it. It runs out, it was taken on 25. It runs out in November 25 because I am 60. I'm trying to hide my date of birth, but that sort of tells you similar close. Anyway, I'm 66 and I've had to do this bull this is my 3rd or the 4th time. You do it, it lasts you 5 years. Oh, so here we are. I'm all right now. I'm qualified up to 2030, which I'll be well old by then. And I've got my bus license, I'll show you that. So my heavy goods license and my bus license. And this is my DigiCard. So to drive in the UK, you need your driving license. To drive anything over 3.5 ton now, commercially, and 7.5 ton over that is you need your driver's card, which records all your time, what time you started, what time you end, what speed you're doing, what time of day did you fart, that sort of a thing. Make sure you keep within the driver's regulations. The hours, which is another video altogether about the hours that I don't think now are suitable for the modern roads. It's just unfair trying to get around. But anyway, that's another question. And this is what we're on about, our CPC driver qualification card. Yeah, they call it Driver Certificate of Professional Competency. Oh, here we go. Right, and here's my categories. And this is how long I've been out on the road. I've had my car license since 82. If my sums are right, that's 43 years ago. My truck license I've had, if my sums are right, since 91. So I've been on the road, on the truck since for 34 years. And I've had my bus license in 15 years. So we've got all the licenses. There's plenty of truck drivers out there that haven't got a bus license, and there's plenty of bus drivers out there that haven't got a truck license. What's special is I've got plus E, means a trailer. So because I can pull a trailer on a truck, behind a truck, I can pull a trailer behind a bus. So there's a lot of bus drivers out there cannot pull a trailer because they haven't got the plus E. So D1 means I can drive a double decker. There's not a picture of a double decker there, but it allows me to drive the biggest ones, right? So anyway, a D plus E, so that I can drive, you know, a double decker. And the only way you can get that, I've never driven a double decker. All you have to do is take your test in a longer coach. Well, that's what it was when I did it. They may have changed, but anyway, let's get into the meat and veg of this rant. So to do that, you have to get your where am I? You have to get every 5 years your certificate of professional competency. Oh, it's offensive to an old git. Now let's establish I've been around a long time. I've been driving a long time. And I am an old git, right? And to make us sit and listen to this bull crap by people that have got less years, you know, you're going to walk in the room. Maybe you've been driving 10 years. Maybe you've been driving 20 years. So now you're a trainer. Now you've decided, you know, you're maybe ex-military, or, you know, obviously you've got to pay your bills and the law makes you do it. But these trainers, they come in the room and my instant hackles begin, because I look at them and yeah, they're not as old as me, and why have I got to do it now? We're past retirement if I want to drive. It's what the hell are you going to teach me? Looking at this and looking at the dates, what have you got to say that I haven't seen, that I haven't done, that I haven't experienced? And now you expect me to sit and listen and we'll look at these certificates, 7 hours. 35 hours of bullshit I've had to sit and listen to. Oh, it's so annoying. And like I say, it's no reflection at all about the people that provide the service, because, you know, it's their job. That's got to do. You've got to go on this course. They've got to give you the course. And you've got to sit there and you've got to do this course, and then they give you the piece of paper. So let's just start. I'm going to fill in now the picture. We're going to start with the topic of what they were teaching you, and we'll go through each one. So get ready for a screenshot. If I've put the right certificate, I've took out the company name, I've took out the numbers that matter. All I want you to see is what was the heading of the course, that you have to do 5 of these courses, and what was the heading. And we're going to take it at face value. There's different things, and you can do first aid courses, you can do lots of other courses that count towards it, but you have to do 5 of these 7-hour courses. So just because I've got them, and it's what I've had to do to get this, we'll go by face value and what the first one was, which was the 3rd of March. I had to sit there for 7 hours and talk about tiredness and diet and security. Tiredness? Well, what about working 15 hours? Now I'm out of it, and I speak to my mates all the time on the phone. It's slavery. It's modern slavery. Yes, it's good it's a good place to go to work. It's a good place to earn money. You earn your money, but the only way you earn your money is because you're doing that many hours. Where legally, I mean, yes, I haven't got a problem with taco hours and restricting, but you can drive for 10 hours a day. Now remember, you can drive for 10 hours a day. You can only drive for 4.5 hours in one full spell. So you're driving for 10 hours, for 4.5 hours, you've got to take a break of 3/4 of an hour. So, 10 hours plus 3/4. So there's your first 4.5 hours. So you're on a big journey, you know what I mean? It's taking a long time. You drive for another 4.5 hours. So now you're driven for 9 hours. And you have to take another 3/4 of an hour break. So on top of your 10 hours that you can drive, you've added 2 3/4 of an hour breaks. And then you can drive another hour. So it physically takes you, let me see, to do a 10-hour drive, you have to do 10 hours, 3/4 and 3/4 is 3/4 and 3/4 is an hour and a half, isn't it? Yeah. So 11.5. So there's your 11.5 hours. Forget about loading, offloading, waiting, and that sort of a thing. So you can see how quite easy it is. You can bang your hours up on top of waiting. Oh, God. You get to a place, they don't tip you straight away. I mean, if you're lucky, they do. If you're in that sort of... The transport industry is very odd. It's about, if you're in the building industry, you're a plumber, you're a joiner, you're an electrician, you're a brickie. Within that scope of house building, there's lots of trades, isn't there? Well, truck driving is the same. The transport industry, within the transport industry, and that's the one big word that covers everything, there are lots of different trades, deliveries, types of trailer, types of job you do, if you're on a walking floor, or if you've got a low loader, or if you've got a curtain sider, it all comes under. So you're only doing the job that you're doing. You don't do every job every day. You don't drive a tanker today and then a car carrier tomorrow and then maybe a walking floor the day after that, and then you get a low loader and you do that. Generally speaking, if your job is to do that, general haulage, flatbeds, you're doing roping and sheeting and chaining, low loading. So within the industry of... So why do you need to know about stuff that you're not doing? They teach you, and you have to know about everything that you never use. What a waste of... And then it says diet. So it says tiredness and diet is the heading of this first course. Diet, the transport cabs. Where are you going to eat? They've stopped lay-bys. And the price inside these places. I mean, my days, it was truck stops. You went for cheap food in truck stops. And there is still truck stops out there, and there's some good ones and some not so good ones. But they're dying, the old trade. And in between, where have you got parking spaces? Mad. And security is another heading on that one. So let's move on a bit. Let's put you another picture in. That one's in. Vulnerable road users. To get into London, truck drivers, and I'm not telling you, it's not a joke, a truck driver to get into, to be a Force driver, to get into London, you've got to get on a push bike and ride a push bike. How insulting is that to us professional drivers that have been doing it for years? It's those idiots that want to cut up in front of you and paddle up the side of you. It's those are the idiots, those push biking lunatics, what are they called? Lycra-clad freaks that pedal around on them in London dangerously. We've all seen them. They pedal through red lights. They don't obey the rules at all. Obviously, it's the few that spoil it for the many. So if you're a proper, responsible push bike rider, then I'm not talking to you. But if you're one of these lycra-clad, arse cheeks flashing lunatics that run around the cities, dangerous, bloody dead. Well, brave, I must give you. I would never go on the road on a push bike, but fair play. You're pretty brave if you want to do it. Bloody stupid as well. But vulnerable road users. Just on the topic of this, how offensive is that? Now, I do accept that a lot of drivers put a lot of shit in the dash. And there was a particular incident in London, not in London, in Birmingham. Highly qualified surgeon was on her push bike and she got run over by a truck. And they discovered there was a lot of stuff. There's a tray in front of the windscreen covering up the screen. So there was two questions. First of all, he shouldn't have had all that shit in front of his screen, so he should have had the best chance to see her. But if you are that qualified, what the hell are you doing, endangering your life? You know, you're a really valuable person. If you're a highly qualified surgeon, you are a vulnerable and valuable person to society, and you get on a push bike and get killed by a truck. That's another one altogether. But yeah, vulnerable. They do nothing about push bikes. It's all of a sudden it's our fault. Do you know what I mean? And they've changed the rule now that the trouble with truck driving, you are automatically guilty. Yeah, you're not innocent until proved guilty. You are guilty. If you run over it, if a push bike runs out in front of you and goes underneath your wheels, it's your fault. Which I do sort of, I don't disagree in a way, because, when you're driving, if somebody hits you and it's completely 100% their fault, let's accept that. But also, there's always that question. You've got to drive knowing that there's idiots around and that they're going to drive into you. So is it your fault? Is it their fault for running into you, or is it your fault for being in a position that they can run into you? That's it's sort of a grey area. I always think of that. Could you have been going slower? Could you have been watching wider? You know what I mean? You drive in a truck. You do drive defensively. You do drive, presuming that they're all stupid, and it's keeping yourself. It's called defensive driving. You keep yourself safe. Part of the skill of getting into a place and getting out of a place is keeping yourself safe and not, and it happens, accidents happen, things happen. You can't be an expert on every particular thing. But, right, so let's do the next one. Hold on. Let's do the next one. So hopefully that was day 3 on the 5th. Company, public image of the company. What the hell has that got to do with road safety and actual driving? Do you know what I mean? That's your job. You've got to behave yourself. When you're working for a company, you represent that company and you have to behave yourself, as in any job, whatever job you're doing. This is a road transport qualification and part of the course. And as it says, we're just going by what was on the heading of that particular piece of paper. And it said company policy and company image. What do they want? We need to drive around with a shirt and tie on. That's a complete and utter waste of time, it's not doing what it's meant to do. We're meant to try and produce better drivers, better thinking drivers. It's not you know me, you've seen my videos, you've seen me with trucks written all over them, and they're up the arse of the car in front, or they're fully freighted because you can see their wheels are down, or you can see out the back of them that they're full, and they're up the arse of the car in front. There's never any mention of that, driving like a bloody idiot, keeping a good space, giving your life-giving gap. There's none of that. Now, this was a fantastic opportunity to drive correctly and behave yourself, which comes with any job. If you're working for somebody, whether you're a gas man or an electrician or you're in a factory even. I mean, here's the thing. They must find, the qualification, again, it's the few that spoil it for the many. The amount of backdoor people. Are you miserable? Are you moody? Do you think you're the only person that matters? We'll put you in front of the back door. You know, I am you're taking goods in. I'm bringing you goods, and generally they're okay, but you get some right arseholes on some of these back doors, on these entrances in the snow. And the worst thing that really annoys me, would you bring that for? And they snatch the paperwork off you. How many of you drivers out there have turned up doing your job? Here we are, sir. I've got this. I've been told by, I've been tasked to bring you these goods because your company has spent thousands of pounds buying them, and I've got a truck full of them. Here they are. And they snatch the paper out of your hand, and all of a sudden it's your fault for bringing it up, and what the hell are you doing? Oh, there's some receiving people. You have to be a horrible, miserable sort of person to get that job. It must be a qualification. Yeah, I'm miserable. Yeah, I'm moody. Yeah, I don't know how to speak to anyone. Yeah. Well, you've got the job then. You can work the back door. You can work goods receiving. And again, it's the few that spoil it for the many, but they're out there. Yeah, they are out there. So let's move on to the next. And remember, I've sat there for 7 hours listening to all this bull crap. Oh, dear me. Oh, if it wasn't funny, you'd cry, wouldn't you? Right. This one's hit the nerve. The next one I did was emergency first aid. Fine. I haven't got a problem with it. I mean, and there are certain things, you do. If you do anything to do with chemicals, there's some real nasty stuff travel on the road if you only knew about it and if you understood what the sign says. But naturally, you would try and help somebody. Naturally, first aid courses, that's a valuable thing. But isn't that a valuable thing in any workplace? Whether you're working in a factory and somebody gets a hand, you know what to do with somebody when the hand has gone in a machine, or you're working in a warehouse and there's a whole load of stuff landed on them. So first aid is a valuable, you can do them on your own. And part of that, did you see the certificate? 7 hours. Economic drive. Don't start me off. This is the one that's going to boil my... economic bloody teaching them to, and I know, and I've shown loads of films of them, these brain dead cruise control idiots. Yeah, that'll pass you at 1 mile an hour because they've cruise control and it can pass you. I've shown you again and again now, I don't support cruise control, economic driving. When I drive, I am completely awake. I'm in control of my throttle foot. I'm ready with my clutch. I'm ready with my brake. I'm watching everything. You put it in cruise control, and remember, you can drive for 4.5 hours. So if you're on a long journey, you've driven 1 hour, fine. 2 hours. Yeah, you've been up this motorway for. There's nothing to see. You're in hour 3 now, aren't you? And you're in cruise control, and you're not really. You're in a blur, aren't you? Sometimes we've all done it. You've driven from A to B and you can't even remember the journey. Forget about if anything happened. These cruise control dummies, and I've seen them over and over again. And sometimes they swerve out the way. They don't look ahead. They look about 2 foot in front of themselves. All these cruise control. Oh yeah, but I'm saving the bus 0.5 mile an hour on the diesel. Yeah, you've got to drive considerably and you've got to take that into account. But you can't just got to switch the switch on and off you go, And them days are over. The days of coming out of Birmingham, going up to Scotland and running your tacho up to maximum and putting a black mark all the way around and not even taking your foot off. That was a game. We used to do that. But you can't even do that now because the roads are so busy, So, it's mad. So anyway, we're coming to the last one now, the last heading on the course, and we're taking it at face value of these courses. So here we are, we're at the last day. And fair play, tachograph hours, rules and regulations, I haven't got a problem. That's the only day that was really, we all know it anyway. There's not many rules. There's only a couple of rules. Whenever I see, young drivers just starting out, a bit struggling reverse, you go over, you talk to them, oh, this is my first week, like this. There's only 2 rules. Keep you safe and keep the truck safe. And with the hours, you remember your four your 4.5 hour driver limit, and this working time directive, you can only do 6 hours and you've got to take a break. So if you haven't driven for the hours you're not, and you're within your 6 hours, after 6 hours you have to take a break. Oh, and really, they're the only ones that really matter. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're 9 hours for 3 days a week, and then you can drive 10 hours and all that. Once you're in it, if you're doing, now I'm a day man. I used to tramp. I'm a day man, so I've never really involved myself in pushing the hours and working to the minute. But you can do 60 hours. You can do it, and working a Saturday, and because you worked last Saturday doesn't mean you can work this Saturday. All that malarkey, you know what I mean? If you're in and you're doing that, then that will come to it, because, obviously the boss will say, blah, blah, Reggie, you went over your hours there. Okay, so you learn that as you're there, but you've only got a very few hours. Remember, as long as you remember, after 4.5 hours, you've got to take a break, or after 6 hours, you've got to take a break for working time directives. That's about it on tachographs, really. Unless you're really pushing the limits, do you know what I mean? And that's it's another trade within a trade, or a work within a work. But it's so there was only one, the tachograph rules, worth its while. All the rest of it was, what a wasted opportunity. Nothing about loading, nothing about strapping, nothing about taking into consideration when you're driving empty and when you're driving full. You drive according to what you've got on the back. When you're loaded, obviously the vehicle performs differently, but at the same time, you've got your weight to take into account, and when you're coming out of junctions, how slow you're going to be. There's none of the skills, the actual day-to-day and defensive driving. Don't start me off on passing the test. You pass the test just to get a piece of paper. Once you've got the piece of paper, then you learn. I'm not telling you for 1 minute that the way I drive is the correct way of driving, but it's what's kept me safe and kept my license clean for years and years and years. And that's the day-to-day, the actual truth of the job. What they teach them to drive, and within the lines, are sometimes impossible, and a lot of it is defensive driving, and a lot of it is watching out for other idiots, keeping yourself safe, not doing anything that they can take advantage of, or driving in such a manner that they think they're going to try for it, and bang, so it's mad. It's absolutely mad. So now I'm retired and I've had to do it again. Is this the third 15 years has this been going? It's the same. And when they first started, you could do the same course 5 times. Now you've got to do 5 different courses to get in, to get your qualification. But when it first started, that's how bad it was. And it's a joke within the transport industry. Now, don't talk to anybody that's making any living out of it. Don't talk to any trainers. Talk to the old boys, or talk to the boys that have done it now. And I don't mind doing it once, right, fine. But then 5 years, you've got to do it again. Yeah. And then you've got to do it again in 5 years again after that. And what a load of twaddle it is. What a wasted opportunity to train drivers, train truck drivers in the proper manner, And that's why we've got all these idiots out on the road. That's how you see them all, Their heads aren't in the right place. They're not, they don't take any pride in what they do. And again, I'm only talking about the few that spoil it for the many. But there's a lot of bad. We all complain about, you speak to any truck driver, oh, bloody stupid car driver, bloody idiot on a push bike, But you've got to accept there are some really bad, poor truck drivers out there that don't even deserve a chocolate license, let alone a proper license. But anyway, that's the way it is today. You've got to get these bits of paper for you to do whatever you want to do. So that's the end of that. Let's see what you think. Put it down in your comments. Absolutely put it down in your comments and see what you think. But The CPC is an absolute, complete, well, let's say 90% waste of time and offensive. To me personally, I don't care who you are. You're going to come in the room and tell me how to drive a truck and what to do. Yeah. What are you going to teach me? Huh? What are you going to say that's going to impress me or make me think? Bunch of idiots. Bunch of bloody idiots.